Morning guys, Rubber Kitty here. How's it going? Thank the verse, it's Friday. Okay, so a kind of an extension of yesterday's topic is setting aside time to talk about the negative things. And it's how stuff happens, life happens, you can feel overwhelmed at times. But it's also good to set aside time, either to talk with people involved about negative things and or set aside time for yourself to think about the things that are happening in life that are not so good for you. Why it's good is that, one, you can get a lot of things out, and two, you can restrict the amount of time that you're spending dwelling on these things. If you have thoughts about it during the day, you go, okay, I'm not thinking about that at the moment. I'm going to either write stuff down to bring up to talk to somebody or think about later. And at this particular time, I'm going to think about all the things that are bothering me or negative or stuff I need to do stuff about. And then I'm going to set aside time to talk and come up with strategies and deal with that. Even if there are things that you don't like doing, such as, applications you want to put in. You go, okay, I'm going to pile all these applications in and I'm going to, come up with a strategy to do that at this particular time because I don't like doing applications. This helps stop your stress. It doesn't work all the time. It's not a complete, one-shot bullet thing. It's not an instant thing. It's a gradual thing. It helps reduce a lot of thought and anxiety. It allows you to get on with life a little bit, get on down with the other stuff that's more important. As important as some of these negative things are, they're not really things that you really want to dwell on. So if you try to set aside times to deal with them, then it also helps with the organisation of your day, be a bit more productive. I feel like you've achieved something, goes, okay, these are things I didn't really want to do, but we've talked about them. These are the strategies, I'm going to implement them, and just talking about them is not enough. Doing things that are constructive is good as well. So setting aside time, because things will happen, and try and keep the thoughts of those things that are bothering you to a minimum outside of those times, being more effective. It's not that easy, or it's easy to say, it's not easy to do, as I keep saying. It's one of those things where, I don't know, you try to not spend so much time on negative things and dwell on them, and setting aside time and acknowledging that there are negative things in life, because stuff is going to happen. Not everything is perfect. I mean, if everything was perfect, why would you bother getting up in the morning? Because everything's perfect, there's nothing to do. Perfect implies nothing to improve or nothing to explore or nothing to know, nothing to get curious about. That's kind of boring for me. But definitely set aside time to talk about some negative things. And here's the other thing, is when you're talking about them, particularly with other people, and things get a bit heated, it is also good to temporarily leave that space or take a break from what's going on, because sometimes you can get sidetracked from the actual matter, particularly when feelings are involved. And one of the things that is that's the thing, is facts, not feelings, when coming with solutions, because if you let your feelings overrun you too much, then you can spiral into a non-productive thought process. So try as much as possible to remain calm when you're talking about emotive subjects, as hard as that is. It's never really easy. If you need to take a break and say, look, okay, can we reschedule and come back in like 5 or 10 minutes? That's cool. If you want to keep going and talking about it, and other people want a break and they want to walk away, let them walk away. Let them sort of get their head together and think up of things and calm down and all that sort of stuff, because there's no real good conversation happens when people are really overly emotive, because you say things that you don't mean or will regret later on. And what has been distressing about something like that is that if people do walk away, there's a thing these days when people are saying, okay, if you walk away, that's giving me the silent treatment, and therefore that is abusive, and I'm offended at that. Number one, if you keep haranguing somebody into staying and talking with you when they don't want to, that's violating their consent, and that is also abusive. So as much as people say, oh, if you give me the silent treatment, you walked away, that's abusive, I go, well, you're abusive in as well, because you're trying to force somebody to have a conversation with you when they just want to be left alone. Okay, so it's never a one-way thing, it's a two-way street. So think about things like that when it comes to talking, communicating with people. That some people also need a bit of time to collect their thoughts and think about new information that's been introduced, or think about new ways to approach old situations as well. So it's a helpful thing. I mean, there are times when I've tried to talk when I've been highly emotive, and it's not been helpful. It's not been helpful because my messages get garbled. You can say things that you don't really mean, or just, you're just pissed off at the moment. You don't think about the other different sides of the story. You're thinking only really about your emotions and how you feel and what you want to say. And here's the thing with that. Is it more important to be right, or is it more important to communicate with somebody, get a message through, transfer information and come up with a solution? There's a lot of people that think that they're right, but all they really want is just to have their say, which is fine, letting people have their say, but when it starts turning into a rant, you got to take a breath. I mean, seriously, guys. So in dealing with, there's a lot of stuff, I've kind of segued off a bit there, but dealing with a lot of negative stuff, you set aside time to talk about that stuff, but also set aside time to talk about good things too. Try to keep your thoughts on negatives and solutions and all that to a minimum, or write them down to bring them up when you need to discuss them with certain people that are involved, or that you can attend to later on at a better time, because sometimes you come up with solutions while you're busy doing something else, and that can distract you. Make a note, get on with your work, come back to it later when you are going to devote your full time and attention to that, because if you interrupt yourself continually, you'll never get anything done. You'll have a lot of half-done projects, a lot of half-done solutions to problems, and that's not good for you on a self-esteem level, not good for you on a stress level either. Okay, so set aside some time to tackle some of the things that you don't really want to tackle. Think about solutions, definitely, but not continually while you're doing something else. Make notes to bring up, even if it's just a meeting by yourself, to say, okay, this is my solution to this matter. I'm going to sit down and think about all this whole problem here, or this issue here. Okay? So anyway, Friday, another happy day. I'll see you guys later. Soon there's going to be some other interesting things going on, so I'll keep you up to date, maybe, or I'll surprise you. Yeah, bye.